Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We are with you once again on the Edmentum, Illinois YouTube channel for another edition of Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy. Got my associate here in Illinois, Kevin Gallman, on the call here today, and we are thrilled, very excited to have PJ Caposey with us. He is the Superintendent of Schools for Meridian District 223. It's down in Stillman Valley, so sort of northern central Illinois, if you will. He is a speaker. His most recent national engagement was a TEDx talk in Wrigleyville. Definitely would encourage you to search that up on the TED Talk website. And he's a published author. Lots of books that he's written. The most recent, or the most current one, that is on pre-order right now at Amazon is called The Unfinished Leader, that he wrote with Nick Poliak and Mike Lubefeld. So we're just pleased as punch to have PJ with us on the call here today. PJ, how are you, sir?
Doing amazing. Thanks for having me, Jason and Kevin. Awesome to finish out a Friday of what seemed like a 24-day week. So let's get to this weekend.
Not even sure, PJ, if you had Monday off for President's Day, but typically the shortest weeks always felt like the longest weeks.
For sure. And then you throw weather on top of it and those decisions. And so I am looking forward to relaxing about 7 o'clock tonight.
Excellent, PJ. So we talked a little bit about the segment here, fact, fiction, and fuzzy. PJ, why don't you go ahead and start us out with a fact, something that you know to be true about education or about Meridian District 223 itself.
I'll start the macro for the fact is that we matter. So whatever layer you want to look at, whether it's teachers, principals, or superintendents, we all matter dramatically on pretty much all elements of things that pertain to kids. And the people that matter the most are the teachers, and then a little bit less, but still significant amount of the principals. And then even less are people like me in the superintendent's role. But whoever you are listening to this, the data is resoundingly clear that you matter and you're making a difference when we do our jobs well.
PJ, how about a fiction? Maybe something that you thought was true or whatever the case may be, a fiction in education right now.
So what I continue to try to beat the drum toward is that I reject the notion of learning loss and that it's this national narrative going on. So I want to be clear, when we take benchmark tests or if we're forced to take the state assessments, I'm not saying that there's not going to be a decrease in potential student performance. But what I'm trying to articulate is that we are not in crisis. We are in problem solving mode. And as schools, we are quite literally built to handle this. And so as people continue to talk about this as this national crisis, it's an issue and we will problem solve it. And I have hope and faith and belief in the brilliance of the educators that are listening to this, that we will get it done. So don't let the deficit mindset of learning loss define what we're doing. Just think of it as another problem to go and solve.
Love that perspective. I think it's going to be more and more important as we move forward here. So let's transition to the fuzzy portion. Something warm and fuzzy going on in the district, and or something that's still unclear about how to move forward.
I'll start with the unclear first, then I'll get to a warm fuzzy. The unclear for me is that I think that we are in a unique opportunity as a result of the pandemic, that we can either use this kind of as a launching pad, or we can use this to either boomerang or yo-yo back to where we've been. So everyone I talk to just wants normal back. And believe me, I want normal back too. But I don't want all the parts of normal back that were in school. I want to take the parts that were working, and then I want to shed the parts that weren't, and I want to take the parts that have worked and could work in the future in whatever learning fashion we're in now, whether it's an altered state of normal, a hybrid, or remote. And I want to smash those two together and create a new normal that moves forward. So my fuzziness is that I don't know what's going to happen in education, because I think there's going to be a large, almost instinctive reaction to try to get back to normal. And I just don't want us to go there. The fuzzy would be this, is that I have 4 kids and they go, I don't live in district, which is a whole different podcast, but whenever I ask them about their favorite teacher, not only do I get different answers quite frequently, but those answers always remind me exactly of what we're doing. And so I would encourage you, whether it's your own kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors' kids, Whenever you're feeling a little bit down and you need that warm fuzzy, all you have to do is ask the question, tell me about your favorite teacher. And if you don't have anyone, if you're in complete isolation, then just think back to yours. And when I think back to mine, it's a man named Mr. Colin Hopper, was my favorite teacher, inspired me to be a social studies teacher at the high school level, simply because I wanted to be like him. And so whenever we remember that, I think it helps us get over that, whatever that hard patch is. One of my favorite quotes to say is, are you really having a bad week, or did you have a bad 2 hours that you're turning into a week? And so when I remind myself of that, and I think back to people like Colin Hopper in my life, and I think back when I ask my kids about that, it helps me remember my why, and it gives me that warm fuzzy as to why I'm an educator.
Awesome. That's a great reminder. The impact that educators have, that we all have on each other in this time of less connectedness, and really reaching out for those. So thanks again, PJ Caposey. If you're not following PJ on Twitter, handles up here. It'll be in the description as well. Check out the TED website, PJ Caposey TED Talk, for a fantastic TED Talk as well. Thanks again, and appreciate your time on our weekly Edmentum Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy. And then also don't forget to do that pre-order on Amazon for The Unfinished Leader. So thanks a lot, PJ.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Jason. Appreciate you, Kevin.